The Galactic Academy's central courtyard buzzed with the usual cacophony of 1,000 different species trying to coexist. James stood beside Aliana, his human friend, as she clutched her data slate with white knuckles. The Corthan blocking their path to the archives wasn't moving. "I said move," Aliana repeated, her voice steady despite the tremor James detected in her shoulders. Vexthor, a 7-foot-tall Corthan, with scales like polished obsidian and muscles that could crush steel, looked down at the human girl with something between amusement and contempt. His species had ruled 3-star systems through pure physical dominance for millennia. They were known throughout the galaxy as warriors, enforcers, the ones you called when diplomacy failed. "Make me, soft skin," Vexthor rumbled, his translator rendering his words with deliberate mockery. James had seen this scenario play out a dozen times since humans joined the Galactic Council 2 years ago. Humanity was the new species, the curious weaklings from a backwater planet who somehow stumbled into faster-than-light travel. Most aliens viewed them as a cosmic joke, fragile, short-lived, and laughably undermuscled compared to even the weakest spacefaring races. "Aliana, let's just go around," James suggested, touching her elbow. She shook him off. At 5'4" and barely 100 pounds, she looked like a child next to the Corthan. "No, I'm tired of going around." Vexthor's crest flared with delight. He'd been harassing human students for weeks, and none had dared challenge him. "You want through? Hit me then!" He tapped his chest with one clawed finger, his laugh echoing across the courtyard. "I'll even give you a free shot. One punch. If I feel it, I'll move." The courtyard went silent. Students from a dozen species stopped to watch. This was entertainment, watching another human learn their place in the cosmic hierarchy. "Aliana, don't," James whispered urgently. "He's baiting you. It's what he wants." But Aliana was already handing James her data slate. She rolled her shoulders, an oddly casual gesture that James recognized from their sparring sessions in the human quarters. She'd mentioned she trained in something back on Earth, but he'd never paid much attention. "One punch?" she asked calmly. "One punch," Vexthor confirmed, spreading his arms wide. "Do your worst, soft skin." What happened next took exactly 1.3 seconds. Aliana's stance shifted, feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent. Her right hand came up in a loose fist, drawing Vexthor's attention, but it was her left that moved. A blur of motion that James's eyes barely tracked. The punch connected with Vexthor's solar plexus, just below his chest plate where the scales were thinner. There was a sound like a mallet hitting wet clay, followed by a whoosh of expelled air. Vexthor's eyes widened. His mouth opened, but no sound emerged. His legs buckled, and the mighty Corthan warrior crashed to the ground like a felled tree, gasping for air that wouldn't come. The courtyard erupted in chaos. What did she do? A Pelthian student shrieked, its tentacles writhing in shock. "She barely touched him," another voice called out, but James knew. He'd seen enough Earth combat sports to recognize what happened. Aliana hadn't tried to match Vexthor's strength. She'd targeted his weakness, the thin bundle of nerves that even Corthan anatomy couldn't fully protect. The solar plexus strike, refined by humans over thousands of years of finding ways to survive against stronger predators. The Academy's medical team rushed over as Vexthor continued gasping on the ground, his scales flickering between colors that signaled distress in Corthan physiology. He wasn't dying, but he'd be remembering this moment for a long time. "I can't breathe," Vexthor wheezed. "You will in about 30 seconds, Aliana said matter-of-factly. "Your diaphragm is spasming. It's temporary." She picked up her data slate from James's hands and stepped over the fallen bully. "Excuse me." The crowd parted like water before her. James hurried to catch up, his mind reeling. "What was that?" "Muay Thai," Aliana replied without breaking stride. 8 years of training. My instructor always said the best fighters aren't the strongest. They're the ones who understand anatomy and physics. You could have told me you were basically a human weapon." She smiled, a tight expression that didn't reach her eyes. "I tried to tell half a dozen Academy counselors that humans aren't pushovers. They filed it under primitive species aggression and ignored it. Sometimes you have to teach through demonstration." By evening, the story had spread through the Academy like wildfire. The human girl who dropped a Corthan warrior with a single punch. The species that everyone dismissed as weak, revealing they'd spent their entire evolutionary history learning to kill things bigger and stronger than themselves. The Galactic Council's Earth liaison, Ambassador Chen, called James and Aliana to her office that night. James expected punishment, but the ambassador was grinning. "Do you know what happened after your little demonstration?" Chen asked, pulling up a holographic display. 7 species have requested formal treaties with Earth. 4 want to study human combat techniques. And the Korthan Empire just sent an official apology and an invitation to establish a cultural exchange program. Aliana frowned. "I just wanted to get to the library." "You did more than that," Chen said. "You reminded the galaxy of something they forgot. Evolution doesn't care about fair fights. Humans didn't get to the top of Earth's food chain by being the strongest. We got there by being the smartest, the most persistent, and when necessary, the most brutal." James glanced at his friend, seeing her in a new light. "What happens now?" "Now?" Chen's grin widened. "Now the galaxy learns what humanity has known for millennia. It's not the size of the fighter that matters. It's the size of the fight in the fighter." In the medical wing, Vex Thor finally stood up, his pride more bruised than his body. He never bothered another human student again. And when asked about the incident, he said only, "Never underestimate soft skin." The other species learned. Slowly, carefully, they began to understand that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology or numbers. It was the fact that they'd spent 10,000 years learning how to punch above their weight class, and they were terrifyingly good at it.